All right, welcome back. Competence in question. Calls mounting for liberal judge Sarah Backus to step down after granting bond to extremists accused of training kids to shoot up schools at that New Mexico compound.
And we've learned she recently released this man right here, a violent criminal with a record accused of beating a hospital worker, his girlfriend, and their newborn child. President
of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy, Dr. Zuhdi Jasser, joins us now to react. Doctor, thanks for coming on this morning. A lot of people are saying that this is evidence of just how politicized the legal system has become. What do you think?
Well, it's even beyond that. It shows you how vulnerable we are. I mean, not only how many cases do we need, but let's look at this case at every level, the level of insanity and how we're approaching a compound of radical Islamists. We're not hearing that term Islamist. We're not hearing the term jihad. The baby that died that was 3 years old was part of some ritual that was apocalyptic about the end of times, where they were training the other 11 kids to shoot up schools. They had tunnels. It was clearly here they were starving, torturing the kids, and that's all we're hearing about is the child abuse. But yet they had enough money to buy weapons, do arms training, teach them how to rapid fire while they're moving, and yet the judge only heard the defense case about racism and basically made statements like, oh, really, I've heard it's troubling, but I don't know if there's enough evidence to really say that they're a danger yet, because they haven't heard enough to back it up. And it shows you how vulnerable we are. The patriarch of it, the ringleader, Siraj Wahaj Jr., was laughing as he saw his fellow terror cell advocates basically being released. So ultimately, we are weak in this, and this is a war, and judges and others refuse to recognize this fact.
What do we do about it?
We need to educate America. We need to educate our legal system, media. I mean, how many Americans learning about this story know that the patriarch, while he may not have been involved in this, is an imam in many of the leading American Islamist organizations? Now, there's no evidence that he was involved in the compound, but on the other hand, he was a gateway drug to the radicalization. So all of these teaching elements that we have, from Case, from San Bernardino to Boston and on, and yet we keep doing a whack-a-mole program, relearning, pretending we don't know anything, like we have this global amnesia. And we need to, just like you're doing in covering this, we need to be tougher, with more tough love on our Muslim community, to say these people aren't self-combusting out of nowhere.
Right.
These radicals had a plan, and the judicial system needs to recognize it and treat them in a tough love rather than simply acquiescing like they're just petty criminals.
And to the good Muslims out there, which there are so many, that they need to condemn this behavior, call it out, and be vigilant of it. Let's go to the governor here to hear what she had to say, the governor of New Mexico. This is the result of liberal pretrial release rules put in place by the New Mexico Supreme Court. Judicial activism at its worst. And what could happen here, you have these people let out. A lot of these Muslim extremists are suicidal. I mean, what happens if they go and they get a gun and they say, you know what, I got an ankle bracelet on, I don't care. I'm going to go shoot as many people as I can before the cops catch up to me.
And I think that's why they're scoffing at us. I mean, so many trials of radical Islamists in Europe and in the U.S., Tariq Mahena in Boston, laughed at their trial, used the trial as a stage because they don't care. They were living in the worst of squalid conditions anyway. Prison is probably a step up for where they were. So to them, this is a war. They are jihadi soldiers, and they're going to feel victory no matter what happens, whether they get caught or not. And what the judge needs to understand, and so many other future judges need to understand, is that these people relish in death, suicide, and jihadi arms, if you will. So, sending them out actually is giving them another opportunity and putting us at risk.
Dr. Jasser, thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, sir.
Anytime.